the structure, the mathematics of death. You think of a legion as a mob running and screaming. Wrong. Those are barbarians. A legion is a machine of about 5,000 men operating as a single organism. The base of everything is the contubernium, 8 men. They eat together, sleep in the same tent, and fight side by side. If one falls, the other 7 protect him. It is family. 10 of these tents make a century. But pay attention to military math. A century has 80 men, not 100. Why? Because I am the centurion, and I say it is 80. The rest are officers and support. 6 centuries make a cohort, 480 men, and 10 cohorts make the legion. The first cohort is the elite, double the size. It is where the best men stand and where we keep the eagle. We are interchangeable parts. If the front line gets tired, a whistle blows, and the back line takes over in seconds. It is a grinder of flesh and steel that never stops. The eagle, Aquila. You have flags, pieces of cloth that burn. We have the eagle. It is not a symbol. It is the soul of the legion embodied in gold or silver. It lives in the camp's shrine. It eats our offerings. The man who carries it, the aquilifer, does not wear a common helmet. He wears the skin of a lion or bear. He is the target of every enemy. If the eagle falls, the legion ceases to exist. To lose the eagle is the ultimate disgrace. It is worse than death. Remember General Varus? In the Teutoburg forest, 3 legions were slaughtered, and 3 eagles were stolen by the Germans. Emperor Augustus banged his head against the wall for months, screaming, "Quintilivare, legions rede!" Varus, give me back my legions. Decades later, we sent entire armies back into that cursed forest. Not for gold, not for land, just to recover the eagles. Without them, the ghosts of the soldiers never rest. Marius's mules, the professionalization. Before General Gaius Marius, the army was a rich man's club. You had to own land to afford your own armor. When the war ended, you went back to the farm. Marius looked at that and said, "Rubbish." He opened the legions to the capite censi, the head count, the landless poor. The state pays for the sword. You pay with 25 years of blood. But there was a price. Marius hated slow baggage trains full of slaves and wagons. They slowed us down. So he decided, the legionary carries everything. On top of armor and weapons, 20 kilos, we carry rations for 15 days, digging tools, cooking pots, and 2 heavy wooden stakes for the palisade. Total? Almost 40 kilos, 90 lbs on our backs. People laughed and called us Muli Mariani, Marius's mules. Let them laugh. While the enemy is still waking up, we have marched 30 kilometers, built a fort, and are ready to kill them. Our backs ache, but our legs conquered the world. Legio X Equestris, Caesar's favorite. All legions are sisters, but the 10th was the eldest and most dangerous daughter. Julius Caesar trusted them more than his own wife, and with good reason. They earned the name Equestris, knights mounted, because, during a tense negotiation with a Germanic king, Caesar didn't trust the Gallic auxiliary cavalry. He ordered the 10th to dismount the Gauls and get on the horses. A legionary of the 10th joked, "Caesar is generous. He turned us into knights." They were there in Gaul. They invaded Britain first. And when the Senate told Caesar to lay down his arms, the 10th said no. They marched against Rome for him. At the Battle of Pharsalus, against an army twice their size, the 10th held the flank and crushed Pompey's cavalry. They proved a dangerous truth. A legion's loyalty belongs to its general, not to the fat politicians in the Senate. Legio X Gemina, the rule breakers. You know them from television, from that HBO series, Pullo and Varinus, but the truth is raw. This was the legion that changed world history on a rainy January night. Julius Caesar stood at the border of Italy, the Rubicon River. To cross that river with an armed army was treason, punishable by death. He had only the 13th Legion with him, 1 legion against the entire empire. He looked at his men, hardened men, loyal, tired of being ignored by Rome. He said, "Alea iacta est," the die is cast. The 13th did not hesitate. They crossed the cold water and marched south. Their symbol is the lion, fierce, regal, and dangerous. They proved that a single decided legion is worth more than 10 undecided ones. They made the first emperor, Legionime Hispana. the Ghost Legion. We lose battles. We lose men. But we rarely lose an entire legion without a trace. The 9th was veteran, strong, stationed on the coldest, most miserable frontier of the world, Britannia. Around 120 AD, they received orders to march north into Caledonia, what you call Scotland. Land of mist, swamps, and savages painted blue who fight naked. The 9th marched into the fog and never marched out. There were no survivors to tell the tale, no message, just silence. Were they slaughtered in a giant ambush? Were they secretly transferred and died in the east? We do not know, and that terrifies us. Shortly after, Emperor Hadrian ordered the construction of a giant stone wall cutting the island in half. A wall to separate civilization from the monsters that swallowed the 9th Legion. Legio X Equestris, the Larks. You laugh at the name? Larks? A singing bird? Laugh in front of them and lose your head. This was Julius Caesar's riskiest bet. He needed men, and Rome was far away. So he did the unthinkable. He recruited Gauls, men who were not Roman citizens, men whose fathers fought against us. He dressed them in our steel, paid them from his own pocket, and taught them our discipline. They wore plumes on their helmets that looked like the crests of a Celtic lark, hence the nickname. The Senate hissed, "Barbarians in the legions?" But in Africa, at the Battle of Thapsus, the 5th faced the ultimate terror, war elephants. While others ran, the Gauls of the 5th stood firm. They hacked at the beasts' trunks and hamstrings with axes. They earned Rome's respect with blood. After that, the elephant became the legion's symbol. They proved that the Roman spirit doesn't live in the blood, it lives in the discipline. The end, limitanae and comitatenses. Everything solid melts into air, even the legions. In the final centuries, the empire was too big, and the enemies were too many. The old 5,000-man legion was slow. So, we broke the machine in two. On the borders, we placed the limitanae, the bordermen. They are soldier farmers. They live in forts, grow their food, and watch the wall. They are not elite. They are the speed bump to slow down the barbarians. Behind them, in the interior, are the comitatenses, the companions. These are the mobile strike force, heavy cavalry, elite infantry. When the border breaks, they ride to put out the fire. The classic legion died. The new units are smaller, 1,000 men, maybe less. The square shield, scutum, is gone, replaced by the oval. The Gladius is gone, replaced by the long sword. We evolved to survive. But I miss the old formation. Rome fell in the West not because we forgot how to fight, but because the world changed, and we ran out of men to hold up the sky. But remember, for 1,000 years, the legion's step was the heartbeat of the world.